Hey guys, so on this night we're gonna have a really quick simple meal of homemade fries and hamburgers. I'm a little weird, don't like cheese on my burgers, but you guys will see that. Anyway, what I'm doing here is just shredding I'm not shredding, I am peeling my potatoes. I bought a new little chopper, so I plan to use the chopper once I'm done peeling all of the potatoes. So as I mentioned earlier, I'd seen this chopper a while back, and I kept saying that I would get it, and I didn't. It was in my cart for like the longest, so I finally went ahead and purchased it. I think the brand is Mueller. I will try to have it linked below. Here I'm just showing you the different slicers that it has within the kit. This particular package, if you will, has the actual choppers, which is what I will be using for the actual potatoes. And within the container, of course, there's a cautionary warning, which obviously I didn't read it because I ended up cutting myself a few days later on this thing. But what I'm doing now is just taking all of the parts out, and which I won't show it on camera, but I actually clean it and do all that kind of stuff. But so far, so good, loving it. So here I am just showing you guys how I use the chopper. I had to actually cut the potatoes in half, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I do like my fries a little bit longer, but it works like a dream. This cut my time like in half, and it just works so well. I was just so super excited about this little contraption. I can see myself using it all the time with onions and bell peppers and everything. My mind is just whirling on the things that I can use it for. But anyway, if you don't have one, you might want to consider getting one. So next, I just rinse the potatoes in the over the sink drain. I was really pleased with the chopper as well as with the drain. This is actually a new drain that I'm using here as well. So the next thing that I have to do is get my seasonings together for my ground beef. Excuse me. So the first thing that I do is take a little I think that was a teaspoon. I think I'll have to go back and double check, but I take a teaspoon of pepper, ground mustard, garlic salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and Creole seasoning, and I blend them. I also add in 1 egg and about a pound, maybe a little over a pound of ground beef, and then I add in the seasonings that you saw me blending earlier. This recipe makes about, I don't know, 4 or 5, I think it was about 5 bun-sized hamburgers. Here I am giving the meat a really, really good mixing. I probably should have gotten gloves, but I was well into blending it or mixing it when I thought about it, so I was like, oh well, whatever. But I do pat these out into about palm-sized balls for the hamburger patties, and it yields about 5, I think, is what I ended with. On the stove, I have my pre-oiled cast iron skillet, and I just pat out each of the patties and place them into the skillet, and I think about 3 would fit in this pan, and then I top them with onion. One thing that I did notice, or that I was thinking when I was making this, is that I need to get a larger cast iron skillet. So if you guys know of a good quality skillet that I can get, and it doesn't necessarily have to be cast iron, I just like doing my burgers in my cast iron skillet, please let me know. Now with these, I also try to make sure that once they get that nice sear on one side, I do flip them, which is what I'm doing here, as well as throwing onions all over the place and just making sure that they're cooked to your liking. I do flip these a couple of times just to make sure that they are done in the middle. Once they are, I take them or remove them from the heat and I start my second batch, but I do drain the oil first. This was a great burger. I added mayo, mustard, and ketchup, and we love these burgers. If you guys have any burger recipes you think that we would enjoy, please leave them in the comments below. On this night, we decided to make pizza. I told my son that we would be making pizza, and this night was the perfect night. My daughter had a cheer competition, and we were honestly quite tired. So we decided to make 1 cheese and 1 pepperoni pizza, and the items that you will need is butter, onion powder, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, 1 can of tomato sauce, and mozzarella cheese. So easy, even my 7-year-old can do it. So we started out by getting a loaf of the Italian bread from Walmart. I think it was like $1.47. We melted about 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter. We added in our onion powder and our garlic powder and the Italian seasoning. And I decided just to kind of customize it a little bit to add in a little bit of the garlic paste because I love all things garlic. And then from there I just had my son stir it. After giving the butter a really good stir, I allowed my son to spread the butter onto the loaves. And of course I had to go back in and add a little bit more. I didn't have it in my heart to tell him he wasn't doing it correctly.
After my mom went behind my back and added more butter, she put the bread in the oven on 375 for 5 to 7 minutes.
So while our bread was toasting in the oven, we added in a half a teaspoon of pepper, a half a teaspoon of garlic salt, and a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. After adding in the seasonings, he made sure to give it a really good stir, as well as a little sniff. Once the French bread is out of the oven, we started putting our pizza together. We first added the sauce that we just blended. And this is where he really had a lot of fun spreading the sauce. He did his cheese pizza, and then I came in to do the pepperoni pizza. We did decide to make 2 separate pizzas just to kind of see what it was like. We added on mozzarella cheese. He added only cheese to his pizza. And then I also let him add cheese and a little pepperoni to mine. After we added the cheese, again, like I said, he added the pepperoni slices to my pizza. You can add as many or as little as you like. Also, other good toppings would be peppers, onions, olives, sausage. But because this was our first time making this type of pizza, we just decided to keep it really, really simple. And then we placed it in the oven just long enough for the cheese to melt. And I would say maybe 5 to 7 minutes.
After about 5 to 7 long minutes, the pizza was ready. I just went in and sliced it. It was really, really hot, so be careful once you take it out. I just sliced it up into small, more manageable pieces for him. And then it was time to eat.
So, my mom cut up the pizza into small pieces for me. We got our Pepsis and we started eating. It tasted really good too.
This next meal is one that you may think took me all day to prepare, but actually it was a combination of leftovers and what I could throw in a crock pot before we left for my daughter's competition. It was very simple ingredients and things that I had on hand that I needed to either use up or was just trying to get rid of. You'll need 2 russet potatoes, which is all I had, a stalk of celery, 2 carrots, and 1 onion. I started by washing the veggies and chopping them in my chopper. So the next thing that I do is start to prep my roast, and I do that by adding in 1 teaspoon of pepper, about 1 teaspoon of meat tenderizer, and a pinch of salt. And I do try to add this to both sides. It's a very simple seasoning mixture because I do add in 1 cup of the pot roast seasoning, which I mix per the package directions. The next thing that I do is add in the vegetables that I chopped earlier, my onion, my 2 carrots, my stalk of celery, and the 2 russet potatoes. And this pot roast is ready for the slow cooker. The next thing that I have to do is prepare my collard greens. I start by adding in 1 ham hock to, I'm not even sure how much water. But I also have my collard greens that have been previously washed and drained. This may seem like a lot or too many collard greens for this particular slow cooker, but collard greens are like kale. They tend to shrink as you cook them, so I just added them in, and lucky for me, my mom did not go to my daughter's competition on this day, so she was able to keep these stirred throughout the day for me. Even though they were in the slow cooker, I do like to keep those, stirred throughout occasionally. After letting them both, the collards and the roast, cook on high for about 5 to 6 hours, everything was ready. The ham hock was falling off the bone and it was tender. The greens were ready. Sorry about the steam, guys. The pork roast, it was so tender. I could just pull it apart with my fork. It was ready. So I did let this cook for just a little bit longer while I prepared my cornbread, and that was just a box of Jiffy Mix, and I also made some candied yams. Thank you guys for watching What's for Dinner. If you have any suggestion for recipes, please leave them in the comments below. And until next time.